So, welcome back to the 1760 sessions. I'm Harry, founder of 1760 Strategic AI, and this is the show where we sit down with founders who are building something that actually matters. Today's guest opened her own law firm in 2023, built it from the ground up as a solo practitioner, and just this month welcomed a partner and a second location. But the story that has really caught my attention in this is her firm has filed federal habeas corpus, which were petitions, which we'll come on to, on behalf of people being held in immigration detention, and every single one has been granted, with three still pending. Is that correct and up to date?
Yeah, there was one that was not granted
Okay,
out of many, but we are still working on that case to be reopened, and then we will continue on that case as well.
fantastic. So Georgia practices immigration law in Austin, Texas. Is bilingual in English and Spanish, and she went through the immigration process herself before dedicating her career to defending others through it. And it's a fantastic story. Georgia, welcome to the 1760 sessions.
Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. So let's go back to where you started, and that was in accounting. And I believe you weren't a big fan of becoming an accountant. Retrained as a
Right.
lawyer. I don't retrained as a lawyer in Brazil, moved to the US, earned a master's and a doctorate, and ended up in immigration law in Texas. Where
Yeah.
does that story kind of begin for you?
Well, I moved here to Florida, and I went to Florida State University after I passed the bar in Brazil, and then I decided after that I was offered a scholarship to continue after my master's degree, the doctorate, and then that's what I did. Passed the bar in Florida, decided to move to Texas, and then I also am admitted to the Texas bar as well. So yeah, that's
Oh, wow.
basically it in
And
a
what,
nutshell.
in a nutshell. So when we spoke last time, you mentioned there was a professor in law school who pointed you toward immigration. What was it about him and that field that really stuck with you?
Um, I feel like he had the same passion as I did for like helping other people and then, civil rights. So I always knew I was going that route rather than like big corporate and stuff like that. And he was very helpful. He would stay after class and talk to us and then tell us his experiences and the cases he had worked on, and to me, that was like kind of like amazing because every single case, I like challenges. So every single case is different. So that's why the facts immigration, they are very, very important. And, if a date is different, this person may have a remedy that the other person doesn't have
Yeah.
available to them. So I think that was like this professor, kind of like that is what started my immigration route. But then after that I started volunteering with a lot of immigration legal aid, non-profit corporations, and then that's how I was like, yes, that's what I want for me. I thought about family law as well, but I think immigration was best suited for me. And the fact that I speak, Portuguese, Spanish, English, that I can help more people that way.
What locations are you primarily helping people from?
I actually don't have a specific one, but a lot of them are from South America and, you know, some in Africa, but, you know, Morocco. I have people from everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much? So you said you're bilingual, and well, I mentioned it earlier as well, and you're speaking Spanish and Portuguese. How much of the practice you have built depends on that?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do have a lot of clients who are fluent in English, so I do communicate with them in English, but most of them, I would say almost 100% of them, they are like, yeah, I speak a little bit of English, but I do prefer, my native language, either Spanish or Portuguese.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Is that on the job specification to work with you, that you need to be bilingual in all 3?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You
I
cut a
suppose,
little bit.
is that on the job spec to work with you that you need to be bilingual in all 3?
Yes. I need to be bilingual for sure. It's mandatory for immigration, I think, because otherwise I would have to use the services of a translator all the time,
Yeah.
and that would be, maybe the message would get lost there. Sometimes I do have to use, interpreters with me in my law practice to talk, with Chinese people, Japanese people, the languages that I'm not very familiar with.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So you mentioned something previously that stayed with me. You have people come to you, you look at their case, and you tell them they could have done this 15 years ago. They just didn't know about it. How often is that happening, and what's that about?
Oh, it happens a lot. Either because they previously consulted with another attorney and the attorney maybe didn't look at the facts very well, or the dates they came in, the times they came in, something like that, or because they just were scared. They were like, well, I don't have any legal remedy, and I don't know. I don't want to go anywhere to ask for it because I'm
Yeah.
scared. So that happens as well, unfortunately. But now, I think people are more like, well, I want to see my options. I want to look for an attorney and see my options. There's a lot of, podcasts like you and radio shows that talk about that. And so I think more people are more concerned about their immigration status.
Okay. Do you think that's because there's better education around it now, or that's just because of the market we're currently living in, or the economy that you're living in, that it's forcing people to go out and look for these kind of things?
I think it's both, because they are scared of detention and scared of driving around without documentation. Um, and the fact that because this is happening, there is a lot of, TV shows and news report on this. So they are more like, yes, I need to get this done. Sometimes it's just like being oblivious, I guess, or not caring, or, oh, I've lived here for 25 years and nothing has happened, so that's fine. But now they are starting to be concerned, and many people, they do have options. And we just need to talk about it and see. I like to be very realistic. I always talk best case scenario, worst case scenario, right? Because I don't like to be dishonest and just say, yeah, just pay me a bunch of money and I'll get you there. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, if they have options, I will tell them like, this is your way.
Feels as almost you want to be as transparent as possible during that whole
Right.
our relationship. Um,
Correct.
for someone listening right now who has a family member in the US who might qualify for legal status and just simply doesn't know how to do it, where do they start, and what do you think they should do tomorrow morning, for example?
I think they should call us first,
Um,
so we can screen them, and we will try to find a way for them to, be legalized in the United States. But they should also, if they want to do on their own, there are some nonprofit organizations that may be able to help. I know they are very overwhelmed now, but if they have availability, maybe they can give them some pamphlets, somewhere to start. But calling us would be a good start because at least you're gonna be you're gonna know your options.
yeah. And like, what does it look like on that first call when someone realizes for the first time that they actually have a path? Is it like a moment of excitement?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. They are like, "Oh my gosh, if I knew this 15 years ago, I could have done it." I have this lady who was like, "Well, I know I don't have any options, but I just want to, talk to you about it because my daughter is friends with someone who went to law school with you, and they talked, about you, and they're like, "Oh, she's good. You should go there." And I talked to this lady, and now she has a green card,
Amazing.
and she's reunited with her family. She was apart from her kids for 10 years. And she's like, "Well, I was told by multiple lawyers I didn't have a path." I'm like, "Yes, you do. You don't have a removal order." Well, yes, you do. So yeah, that makes me happy and
Yeah,
it keeps me going.
it must feel good.
Yeah.
Um, and apart from that success story, do you have any other success stories that come to mind that you can share with us?
I have multiple. Just last
Right.
week, I had a wife of my client who he was detained for many months, and we did the habeas corpus, and then it was granted. He was released, and she was like, "I just want to share with you that I recorded a video of my husband meeting with my kids." And it was very heartwarming, and everyone was so excited. They were super happy because I surprised them. I didn't tell them that daddy was coming home. And, this keeps me going. And that's what this kind of story is what I use to show my staff members like, this is what we do. We reunite families. It's not like
Yeah.
paperwork and then, putting in the effort for nothing. We are doing good work here.
Yeah, yeah. It's more than just a job, it feels like. You're actually changing people's lives, essentially. Uh,
100%.
so we've just mentioned it, habeas corpus. For anyone who has never encountered the term, this is just for our listeners, what is a federal habeas corpus petition and when does it become a tool you reach for example?
Yeah, so we use a habeas corpus petition when there's an illegal detention, right? So immigration is when ICE officers pick people up on streets or workplaces and stuff like that. They will bring them to a detention center. So that is supposed to be a civil detention, not criminal in
Yeah.
nature. So sometimes people are treated as if they were criminals. Um, and what we do, we file the habeas petition with a federal judge from a district court. Um, that judge will oversee that arrest, that detention, and everything that happened around it. And we make arguments. The government responds to us. Sometimes there's a hearing. Sometimes there's no hearings. Um, Specifically, one time only, I had a hearing with my client present. So we had to be in court, and my client was brought from detention to be part of the hearing. But usually, if the judge feels like they need to clarify an issue, they will schedule a hearing between the government and myself. So the government responds, and then I reply back to the government's arguments, and then the judge issues a decision. At this point, since we are with this new administration for almost a year and a half, the issues are more clear now. So the judges are more like, "Oh, okay, this case is just like that other one." And I use my own decisions, and judges use my, previous cases to mention, "Oh, in this case, these were the facts and they were granted." So it's very nice to see, judges citing my own decisions, my
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
cases, and other attorneys are using my, my cases as well. And, reaching out, organizations are reaching out and asking if they can publish my decisions and all that. And I'm like, I will talk to my clients, and most of them, they're like, "Oh, I'm fine with it. If that's going to help more people, I'm just fine with it." And they are all, available, because if you don't publish them, if you don't make them available, um, they will be locked, and people cannot see, the full content of those decisions.
It's amazing. So your cases are now becoming best practice and cited in the law room where you are.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very happy about this. I did have to pivot into this, um, because I wasn't doing habeas corpus until beginning of last year, because rarely there was a need for it.
Yeah.
But now the need is is there. Like
So,
I
how
have
often is
multiple
it
cases.
that a new client will come to you and they won't know about the federal habeas corpus petition?
Um, I would say that everything changed this year. Up until last year, clients would come to me and they're like, "Can you do a bond hearing or this and that?" And then I would tell them, "Look, there is a better tool, which is a habeas corpus." Um, and we started to educate people on that. But this year, a lot of them they come, "Hey, I heard about a habeas thing, and like someone talked to me about it, and my husband is detained, and another person, you helped them in there, and they just want to know about this." So all the detainees are actually talking about habeas corpus. And that's amazing because they come to me and they're like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, I heard that, somebody who came this way or they were paroled or this and that, and you can do that." Or, you know, it's really good that people are actually familiar with, all the tools available to them. Well, most of the tools.
And I was doing some digging on your LinkedIn, and I found a story about a client being released on Christmas Eve at 4 p.m. And the order read, "Respondents are directed to release petitioner from custody no later than 4 p.m. on December 24." What was that day like? Can you take us back there?
That was crazy. Because that was a day before Christmas. And I think that is the story you're talking about, the day before Christmas, and then the problem with the order that says a date and time to be released, and this is like 99% of the orders I got, they say they have to be released by this date and time.
Yeah.
So the ICE officers have to start the process really quickly, the paperwork, the exit interview, and preparing the client for release. So they get very stressed out and they keep calling me and emailing me and call the office and everything, right? And um, they are like, "I need to release your client, but I need this information. I need the address. I need, so they get stressed out and they keep communicating with me. Um, but it was amazing that my client was home for Christmas, and
Amazing.
that's what makes me happy. Some clients they were released before Thanksgiving, and then other ones before Christmas, or sometimes it's like their birthday, and they're like, "Oh, I'm home for my birthday. I'm so happy. Thank you so much." But yeah,
So you're out here saving Christmas essentially for a lot of families.
I didn't
Uh,
go there.
so there are people sitting in detention centres right now who have a case. What is standing between them, do you think, and getting help?
I would say, you know, I I know some. I had a client who called the office directly, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, thank God for this card that I got from another person here, because I've called other offices and they don't pick up or they don't return my call, but I'm glad I'm talking to a person, and now I can actually talk to you, and I want you to find my family." That's the problem because with cell phones, nobody have, numbers memorized anymore. And a
Right.
lot of the detainees, they can ask for the officers, "Hey, can I just see a number in there on the phone?" But if you are caught by ICE and you don't have your phone on you, then how are you gonna do? So this person didn't have any numbers. They couldn't call anyone, and they're like, "I've been here for a week and a half, and I do need, to I need you to talk to a family member." And I was like, "Tell me how to find them." I found them on Facebook, and I reached out to them, and they were in communication after that. So it was great to help people that way.
Wow. So there's nothing you can do essentially if you're just caught without your phone on you. And I don't know anyone's phone memorized apart from my mother's. So I have no idea
Yeah.
what I'd do in that situation.
You could call her then.
Yeah, I'm not sure she would pick up.
Right. A weird
um,
number calling her. Yeah.
yeah, that's incredible. So let's look at how you've built the firm up really. And you opened in 2023, and on April 1st this year, the firm merged with Ashley Hutchens and became
Correct.
SanLaurent and Hutchens Law Group. Two attorneys, two locations. What kind of drove that, and what drove the merger?
Well, I actually, since the beginning, I always felt so. In the beginning, I was like, well, I'm starting this myself. It's going to be chill. I'm not going to have a lot of cases, but that changed quickly. And I'm a CPA, as you know, in Brazil, but I do not like numbers. But I had to do the admin work as well, and my husband, he does have a partner and he loves having a partner because he's like we can just discuss ideas and
Yeah.
we can share the burden as well, which is good. So whenever Ashley has been my friend, we have worked together in the past for 3 years, 3 plus years, and we get along very well. And she's like, I'm ready to make a change in my life, and if you are up to it, we could be partners. What do you think about that? I was like, sign me up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. How did you first meet each other?
How did we work?
First
Sorry.
meet each other?
How did we meet?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We worked together in another law firm,
Okay.
and she was an assistant, she became an attorney, and then she became partner. So at some point she was my boss. Um, so yeah, and we got along, from day one. We became very good friends, and yeah.
And then how do you divvy up the law work and the operations work between you two?
So basically, she deals more with affirmative applications and petitions, like with USCIS. I do more of the removal work and habeas petitions. So if we have a court case, the case will come to me basically, and I will handle that. And if I need substitution for court, she will submit in. But most of the work in court and habeas corpus will be with me, and she's really really good with U visas, VAWAs, all that.
Um,
We also in our location, in my the Cedar Park location, we also deal with all those cases as well. But Ashley has been working with this type of cases for a long, long time as well. She's really, really good.
Okay, amazing. So you kind of balance each other out.
Correct.
So you said to me before that people have asked you previously to expand into maybe other areas of law, and your answer has been no. Why is that the right call at the moment?
Well, I just can't think about expanding more than we are doing right now because we are booked and we are busy. We have a lot of clients, and we don't want anything falling through the cracks. We don't want a case not to
Um,
be taken care of the way it should be. And I also think being specialized in an area is always better than trying to embrace multiple
I
types of
agree.
areas, and you're not going to be good at anything. That's what I think. um we do want to expand the office, of course, but not to other areas, I don't think.
Okay. And like, look, I completely agree with you. Especially in consultancies, whether that's law, founders, to nail down a niche, and then your marketing speaks for itself. When people need to come to you for a specific problem, they don't think you're too broad. Nailing down a niche is very very important for smaller boutique consultancies. So you're very much, aside from Ashley, both yin and yang, you're very much the most experienced person in every room at your firm right now. What does that mean for you practically on how your day runs?
Well, I don't have a day that it's like the other,
Okay.
So sometimes I have all day I have phone consultations. Sometimes it's in-person consultations. Sometimes it's prepping a client for court or prepping a client for an interview with USCIS. Sometimes I am in court in person. Sometimes I'm in court via video.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so sometimes I'm just working on my cases all day, and reviewing packages. Yeah, it's a lot.
So how is the firm structured today? There's yourself, Ashley, and I believe there are some junior attorneys with you as well.
No, we are about to hire a junior, an associate.
Amazing.
because we are seeing the need now. We do need somebody else to help us, but we do have assistants, legal assistants, and receptionists. Um, I have one virtual legal assistant. I have somebody else who's not in Texas who is also a legal assistant, and they kind of like help me whenever I need the extra help. Um, yeah, so that's how we are rolling right now. Yeah.
So, with the growth and the junior attorney potentially coming on board, what do you think the firm looks like in 5 years from now?
Yeah. So our goal is to have one big location,
Yeah.
right? Instead of multiple locations, we were um talking about having a big building with, multiple people working together under the same roof. That's our goal. So the way I see it, we'll have more associate attorneys to help us with courts and help us with going to interviews and prepping clients. um I need to learn a little bit more about delegation, I have to confess. But we need somebody who has at least 5 years of experience to
Yeah.
work with us. We can't get like someone who doesn't have any experience. So that is what is the hardest part is, finding people who are qualified. But I do see myself in 5 years, obviously working a little bit less, being able to just review the cases and having a big building with, multiple attorneys working and
Nice.
helping us. And this way we'll be able to help more people. We'll be able to say yes more instead of like, I'm so sorry. I wish I could take your case, but it would not be fair to you.
Okay.
And, you know,
You want to be able to give every single case the amount of time that they need, and that's fantastic to hear. That there's a lot of growth on the table. Where did you say the location you wanted it to be was?
where?
Yeah.
So Ashley lives north of where I live, and her location, the Georgetown location, is close to her. My location is close to me. So maybe somewhere in between,
Okay.
between Cedar Park and Georgetown, which is like north of Austin. That would
Okay.
be the one big location that I want to,
I'll
to
keep my
find.
I'll
And
keep my eye out for when you launch it. And I think you just kind of alluded to it a second ago. Are there families that you can't currently reach because of capacity or geography or awareness that you want to be able to serve?
yeah, I feel like people seeking asylum right now,
Yeah.
there is a big need for that because a lot of them, they were able to use the services of nonprofit organizations. But funding now, it's a real problem for these organizations, so they are having to look for attorneys. And unfortunately, I do not have the capacity to take on new clients at this moment on asylum. So that would be the families that I would help, that I want to help the most, because asylum cases, they are very demanding. We spend hours of work on these cases,
Yeah.
and we just don't have the capacity for that. And we have to say no, because I don't want to do a job that's not short of great.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
And you want to
so
be
that is
thorough with every person you're dealing with. So I have one final question for you, and I think you probably have an answer. So, if you could change one thing about how people in the United States understand their options under immigration law, what would it be?
um hmm, that is a good question. I think probably like the the fear of seeking options. I think that is a big thing. I think a lot of people are like, I don't have options, so I should not even go talk to an attorney. What if I'm exposing myself more if I go talk to an attorney? um and being like late to their options, because some people, like, this week, on Monday I had a consultation with someone and I was like, I wish you had called me in 2023, 2024. Um, but, they were like, "Wow, I was scared. I was told by a friend who had the same case as I did." I was like, "I'm sure the case was not the same, first of all, or maybe your friend didn't have the correct information." But, talking to an attorney, making that investment, which is not a lot of money compared to um, the money you would spend if you are detained, let's
Yeah.
say, it would be much better.
Okay. That's kind of around the access to someone like yourself and the education around it. Um, so, Georgia, this has been such an important conversation. And I think a lot of people are going to hear something in this episode that they needed to hear. Honestly, thank you from everyone here at 1760 for the work you do and for spending time with us. And for anyone listening, if you or someone you know needs to understand their options, I will include a link to Georgia's firm in the comments below. And thank you very much for joining us, Georgia.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about my work and my firm. And I hope this message get, across more families who need help.
I agree. Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you. Bye bye.